Welcome back to another episode of DB Unscripted. I'm your host, Justin Valleyjoe, Communications and Marketing Assistant with the City of Daytona Beach. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, the city's website at daytonabeach.gov/DB Unscripted. So that way you can stay up to date with all of our episodes, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to listen to. But make sure that you follow us if you haven't done so already. So for today's episode, I have our Human Resource Director, Jim Sexton, in the building, and we're going to talk a little bit about his background and current responsibilities and what the future looks like for our HR department. So Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Justin, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the people at Daytona Beach.
Awesome. So can you just give me a little introduction about yourself and kind of how you came into the role of working for Human Resources?
Certainly. So I started early in my life in the early 90s as a heavy equipment technician at the City of Palm Bay. I was an ASE Master Certified Heavy Truck Technician and Automotive Technician, and I worked in their shop in their fleet department. During that time, I became the union president, so I represented the blue-collar workers, probably about 300 of them at the City of Palm Bay. And during negotiations and handling grievances from the union side, the HR director at the time, his name was Dan Greenfield, and I consider him a mentor of mine. He said, I think you're on the wrong team. And I said, well, I think you might be right. So how do we fix that? And he said, well, get back in school, get you an AA degree, and I will be able to bring you over to the Human Resources Department. So around 95-ish, I finished my AA degree, and he brought me over into the HR department at very entry level. I took a pretty large pay cut to go work in human resources. And then from there, I just kind of worked my way up through the City of Palm Bay. And I was there about 10 years total. And then I got my first director job at the City of Sebastian in 2001. So that was my first director job. And from there, I stayed there 5 years. And then I went to be the Human Resources Director for Indian River County, who had about 800 employees at the time. So I went from basically 150 employees to almost 1,000 employees at Indian River County. And I stayed there for 6 years. And then that's when I was recruited by the City of Daytona Beach. And I've been here about 13 years.
Wow.
Started here in 2012. So in general, I did finish up my bachelor's degree as well. Go Knights, UCF. I'm a UCF Knight till I die. Bleed black and gold. You've been in my office. It's all UCF paraphernalia around there.
Hey, you're one of the very few Florida teams that have a winning record right now.
Right. Hey, we're doing well, right? Come on.
We don't want to upset the Gators.
No jinx. No jinx. Yeah, so that's my background in a nutshell.
Okay. Now, we hear that you're a jack of all trades because you also have some other backgrounds in DJing and some other things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Certainly. So early on, you're trying to make ends meet. So I hung a shingle and said I'm a DJ because I used to do fundraisers for American Cancer Society and some other events. And every time we were paying a DJ $400 or $500, and I'm like, man, that should be going to the cause. So
That's
I went
cheap now, by the way. I just got married in February, and I found out real quick the DJ costs a lot of money.
So we're talking 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So $400 was still a pretty good chunk of money to go out the door. You're right. By today's standards, it's cheap. So I went and bought myself a Fender DJ setup. Quite honestly, it's basically in a crate, ready to go. Set it up, boom, you're a DJ. So I started DJing. Then I worked into doing weddings and quinceañeras and bar mitzvahs. Like I've done just about everything.
Yeah.
But also at that time, a lot of people don't know, I also dealt poker.
Oh.
So I'm a professional. I won't say professional. I dealt poker for many years for a company called Big Slick Poker Tournaments. And back in the day, that's when the poker boom had Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker, and every little place was having poker tournaments, and then you would play these free satellite games to get an entry into a very large tournament of thousands of people, and then the winner of that event would get a seat at the World Series of Poker for the $10,000 main event. So I used to deal poker as well. So I've done a lot of things to make ends meet earlier on in my career. In fact, my daughter is literally a professional traveling poker dealer and literally dealt.
Did you travel
on
when you did it?
I did not.
Okay.
She does. In fact, she's in Tunica, Mississippi right now. She was just at the World Series of Poker. on one of the TV broadcasts recently for the World Series of Poker. She was the dealer
That's
on the
awesome.
TV on ESPN.
Yeah.
So I'm videotaping, and then I sent her the video.
That's
that was not this
awesome.
past year. That was the year before. So she came by it honestly, because we always had a poker game at my house. And I dealt poker as at the local venues that would have poker tournaments. Also, what a lot of people don't know about me is I'm a avid ballroom dancer, swing dancer, Latin dancer. So I do salsa, bachata, waltz, tango, foxtrot. Swing dance is my favorite. I love to go swing dance, and I will swing dance anywhere.
You're not the average HR director.
No.
You're not like a Toby Flenderson from The Office.
No, right? Yeah, no. I actually have a personality compared to a lot of them, which is why I couldn't be in finance. I couldn't stare at spreadsheets all day if I had to. I'm interactive. I like to be with people. I like to talk. I like to communicate. So, and then the last thing, one of my hobbies, and it causes me a lot of injuries because the older I get, I don't rebound as much, is I'm an avid mountain biker. So I do travel around the states to ride different trails. I was in Arkansas a couple years ago and rode in the Ozarks. Nothing compared to Florida. And I will not do that again without some significant training before I go back up there. Here it's all flat and it's man-made obstacles and jumps. Up there you're going up a mountain. So I was climbing a mountain for 45 minutes straight up and then for a 2-minute ride down.
That's great. I have a little mountain story. So in February I was snowboarding. And I was up in North Carolina. I was going about 25, 30 miles an hour. And I've snowboarded growing up. Like, it wasn't like this was the first time I've gone. Hit a patch of ice. I was fine on the ice, but when the ice turned back to snow, it got super top heavy with snow. Immediate stop.
Oh, you got a scar to prove it?
Grade 5.
Oh, nice. Look at that thing.
AC joint separation.
Nice.
So my collarbone is forever. It's a good icebreaker, you know.
My collarbone is not near that bad, but this was from wrestling. In high school, I got slammed directly on my head by a very large man, and
So
and it dislocated my shoulder.
Yeah. So the doctor was like, "Well, if you want to do surgery, I can do it, and it's going to be more cosmetic wise, but you're going to have function of your shoulder." I was like,
Then leave it. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm
good. I can always tell when it rains.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, I think rain's on the way. I think this is a Cat 3 coming at us. I can tell by my joints.
Yeah, I have like superpowers now. With it,
Exactly.
So when you DJ'd, what was more stressful? Was it more stressful to DJ a wedding or be an HR director?
100% more stressful to be a DJ for a wedding. And I'll tell you why. So that is the bride's moment of their lifetime. They have been planning since they were 12 years old.
Yeah.
Now, the first dance song better play. Now, remember, I'm back before it was Spotify and Apple Music where you just plug in a device. I'm back when we're using CDs with 2 CD players, and I just got them lined up in a row. So it wasn't uncommon for a CD to malfunction, or I had bridesmaid, the top bridesmaid, maid of honor, matron honor, brought me the CD of their first dance. I relied on them. She wrote the name of the song on the wrong side of the CD. So now I had to go get with the wedding and the parent, the bride and the parents and say, I don't have the wedding song. She wrote the name of the song on the wrong side of the CD. So I literally had to give her a catalog and go pick a song that I do have. Again, before Apple Music. Nowadays it'd be like Spotify, boom, 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 play it, and nobody would have known the difference. Yeah, so it's very stressful. And then, they got the garter toss. I'm trying to keep everybody entertained. I'm trying to keep everybody dancing, so the party just keeps going. Very, very stressful.
Yeah.
HR has its days. Like, we just completed negotiations with all 4 of our unions. So we have 2 police unions here at the city of Daytona Beach. We have a fire union, and I have a general blue collar unit. All their contracts expired on September 30th, and the last contract was just ratified by the city commission last night. Those are very stressful times in that last 3 months of the fiscal year trying to get those contracts re-signed. So I'm not going to say there's no stress in human resources. However, you've got one moment to put that wedding song on for the father-daughter dance, for the first dance of the couple, for the family dance, all that stuff. It's very stressful.
So my DJ, I'm more of a guy that, hey, if I have good music, I'm okay with it. He had the wrong list.
Oh, no.
So luckily, the walkout song, like when my wife and I were announced, was correct. Our first dance song was correct. But as far as all the songs that we picked, the one thing that was frustrating is we were told we need to pick like 30, 40 songs. And that took a long time for us to plan. Like we spent hours trying to figure out what songs we wanted. but he had the wrong list for that. And it got to like song 3 or 4. We're like,
what is going on here?
We're dancing. We're like, wait, this isn't our music, and nobody else knows, right?
Yeah,
Except for us.
Right.
And we went over to him like, hey, this is the wrong list. And he like showed us the list that he had. He's like, no, this is what it is. I'm like, yeah, none of these songs are ours. But like you said, like all you have to do is you just change, you change
nowadays,
up the library.
right? Yeah.
So he was able to fix it. But yeah, back then though, like if he would have had that wrong, I mean, you're
doomed.
That's pretty stressful. So you talked about negotiations. How long do the negotiations last typically? Like when you start that process?
So it's usually April of the year that they expire. So these 4 contracts ended on September 30th, a couple days ago. So we started back in April with the police unit. And that's really even before the budget process gets starting. So our budgeting process is just starting about the same time we get to the bargaining table with our unions. And I like to get there early as far as to hear what the unions, I won't say demands, what their asks are. What are they looking for? What kind of raises are they looking for? What are they showing me as comparators around the area of what other police departments are making and things like that. So I like to meet with them early on that, but then a lot of times we don't meet again till July. And the reason we don't meet till July is the city gets its property appraiser initial assessment probably mid-June to determine what our property values are going to do, what our millage rate, if we don't change the millage rate, how much new money we're talking about. So that gives me an idea to then work with the city manager to determine what could we offer our employees this year. Okay. So we start kind of early, then there's like a lull, and then July, August, September are fast and furious. Okay. Like it feels like it's a 2-year window, but man, when you get to that last 3 months with all 4 units, it's hard to get everybody in and get everybody agreed. Okay. And then they're all watching each other, right? They're like, well, what did he offer the police unit? What did he offer the fire unit? What's he offering the AFSCME unit? So they're all kind of watching each other, and in the meantime, other jurisdictions are negotiating their contracts as well. So all the HR directors in the area are kind of sending out surveys going, hey, what are you all offering? What are their demands? And seeing, see what's going on in the area as well. So that's kind of how the negotiations work in a nutshell.
I got a good retirement job for you then.
Okay.
You should be an NIL negotiator.
Yeah. So sports agency. That's interesting you say that because one of the famous ones is Jimmy Sexton. He represented Horace Grant and many big people. Oh, yeah. So I always thought, not that I would be an imposter, but, I would have name recognition if I get out into the sports agency, because that's one of the things I had thought about kind of growing up is like, I could be a sports agent because I don't have to be an athlete. Yeah, I could be an athletic supporter. Yes. Don't use that one.
That's fun. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've even thought about it before because I played basketball overseas for a few years, and the agents that I worked with, a lot of them they're not even located where I was playing. I mean, they're either in the United States. One of them he was in Greece, and another one I had was in Albania. So a lot of them work from home, and it's like that might be a pretty cool gig. And then I looked at like all that goes into it, and I was like,
it's a lot. I bet it's a lot of travel.
Too much. Yeah. It's more for people. I mean, if you're fine with being on the go a lot and you're not working a typical 9 to 5 and different times, so I was like,
well, imagine the client problems you'd have too, because all of them think they're going to be the GOAT, right? Every one of them's the GOAT, so you're not getting them enough money. Yeah, exactly. So I've got concerns about the whole NIL thing, and I know that's really not for DB Unscripted, but at the end of the day, we don't know if it's going to ruin college football or bring it to another level.
And we are starting to see both sides of it. We've seen the positive a lot, and now I think this year we're seeing more of the negatives with some of the quarterbacks, the younger ones who haven't had a lot of snaps. We're paying them all this money, and now it's like, oh, these guys aren't bad, but they're not worth $3-4 million. And then when they're playing and they're not playing well, it's like, well, if I bench them, I'm sitting $3 million right here, so I got to play. So
that happens in NFL too, right? So you get the rookie quarterbacks, and everybody's ready to throw them in like they're going to be the greatest NFL quarterback of all time. It's like it takes time. It's a new level. Like the game is faster. Like everybody's a stud in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And you might run into not against Group of 4 teams or D3 teams. We all look like all stars, or our D1 teams look like all stars when they're playing D3 and D2 teams or NAIA, and it's like it's a whole different world. So NIL, that's a whole that's a whole new topic.
That could be a whole nother show for us. But so what are some of the roles and responsibilities of the HR department? Can you kind of break that? Because I know sometimes it can be an umbrella, but what are your guys'
It covers a lot, right? I have 15 employees. So within human resources, I have my employment services side and I have the risk management side. So employment services, they do the recruiting. So every time we put out job postings, and you guys do a good job for us too, you put it out on LinkedIn and all your publications, right? So we're always recruiting. We do the hiring, the onboarding, we have employee benefits, we get employees signed up for their health insurance and the retirement plans. That's on the employment services side. And we handle discipline, terminations, things like that, things that aren't pleasant to do, but that's still part of the function of the employment services side. And I was employment services and labor relations. The risk side, not a lot of people know that that's under a human resources department, but every time there's a trip and fall in a city, the risk management handles that. We have a claims adjuster. We are self-insured for our liability claims. We are self-insured for our workers' comp claims. So risk has liability, has workers' compensation, and safety. So I have a full-time safety officer that goes around and makes sure all the employees are properly trained on their PPE, their personal protective equipment, so they can stay safe out there and not get injured in the workplace to help reduce workers' comp claims. But I also have a workers' comp adjuster. We are self-insured on that, so if you get injured on the job, you go see we have an occupational health nurse, you go see our occupational health nurse, and then if it's something else, you get sent to a clinic or a specialist, whatever needs to be done. So all that's under the umbrella of risk management. So within that, we have an incident review committee. So if there's a auto accident and the city's being sued for something, we have an incident review committee that gets together, talks about the case, watches body cam video if necessary, bring in the chiefs or whoever needs to see the video to kind of talk about our liabilities and what could we do to fix that or what could we do better going forward. So a lot of that falls under the HR umbrella, and not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the job opportunities. Have you ever had a time, it doesn't even have to be Daytona Beach, it can be anywhere that you worked when you were working in HR. Have you ever had a time where you had 0 job vacancies? Or
Never.
Is that just like
it's
impossible?
Unheard of.
Yeah.
And even as much as we've done, because one of our challenges that we have here at Daytona Beach is recruiting public safety. And over the years, we have increased our starting pay 60% in the 13 years I've been here. So the overtime rate when I started here is now the regular rate of pay. And even bringing the minimum up to, I want to say it's 55 for police officer. When they make the overtime, they're going to average $65,000, $68,000 as entry-level police officer. Even with that, we're having a hard time recruiting. So we do our best. We have a couple of great officers that go out on to different academy scenes, trying to recruit officers. We hit the high schools, try to get them early during career days and say, have you ever thought about being a law enforcement officer? Have you ever thought about being a firefighter? So we're trying to plant those seeds early where they start thinking, man, that would be, I'd like to do that.
You can make a lot of money.
You can make a good living. We have lieutenants, once you get into the force, if you work hard, study hard, within 7 years, you could probably be a sergeant. Within 3 years from that, you could be a lieutenant. You could be a captain, deputy chief, and obviously chief. So, I mean, we have lieutenants that are making $120,000 a year.
That's a lot.
That's a decent wage. And they're, no disrespect to any lieutenant out there, they're not chasing bad guys anymore, right? They're kind of running the shift, which is a very important task. But if you can, you get up to that certain level, you're not on the, boots on the ground chasing bad guys. You're making sure the troops are well taken care of. What do they need? Give them the support they need, things like that. So when you start getting in that command staff position, arguably lieutenant, captain, and deputy chief, like you're the one that's setting policy. You're guiding the chief, or I'm sorry to hit the microphone.
You're fine.
Guiding the chief, making recommendations on what some policies should be. What could we do better for our officers to get them engaged and keep them engaged? So that's one of the challenges we have out there. And one of the things we're just doing now on our blue collar units, if you will. Back in 2018, we were one of the first agencies to go to $15 an hour as our minimum, right? Okay. The big talk of the nation and Florida was we're going to go to a $15 hour minimum wage. and it doesn't happen until next year. This year, the minimum wage in Florida just went to 14.
A few days ago.
Yeah,
my dad has a
September
restaurant,
30th.
and he was telling me about it. He just had to start paying. And for servers, it's $11 an hour.
Yeah, so the tipped wage also went up as well.
Yeah.
So the new minimum wage in Florida is 14. We've been at 15 since 2018. Wow. So we were one of the first to do that. Now, during this collective bargaining session with that same unit, I won't say we're the first, but we have now made $17 the new minimum wage for positions at the city of Daytona Beach. So if you're coming on board as a utility service worker, a maintenance worker,
does this include casual?
Casuals
for
stay at whatever we need to pay them, right?
Okay.
So we did up the casual rate of pay. For those that don't know, casual is basically our way of saying seasonal or temporary.
Yeah.
So for our camp counselors, for our summer program,
lifeguards,
we actually bumped the lifeguards up a little higher because they have the certs, and if they have the swim instructor, we pay them a little more. Okay. I think our lifeguards were 17 this past summer, but. Okay. Prior to this year, our camp counselors were at $13 an hour. This year, we paid them $15 an hour. Wow. And that's just to stay competitive with other jurisdictions who are paying their counselors that kind of money. So luckily, now that we're going to go to $17 on our full time. Mm-hmm. And so the good thing is I sit across from the blue collar unit, and I'm like, I was literally in your shoes 30 years ago. Like, I was the heavy equipment technician at the city of Palm Bay. So I was negotiating wages and terms and conditions of employment from the union side 30 years ago. But I'm the HR director at the city of Daytona Beach today. Like, there's no stopping you. Once you get in an organization like this, including here, you move up through the ranks. You get your education, you get your experience, you prepare yourself for opportunities, and when opportunities come, you take advantage of them. So it isn't luck. There's some luck involved with anybody's career. You have to be in the right spot at the right time, but if you're not prepared and ready for that opportunity, the opportunity is going to pass you by. Mm-hmm. So be prepared, get ready, do your studying, be mentored, take criticism, take constructive criticism. Mm-hmm. Improve you, be the best you can be, and then you can rise through the ranks. Yeah. And that's what I did at the city of Palm Bay. So it's unheard of. It's like, that guy was just didn't I see that guy in the garage 3 years ago? And now he's in here. I mean, I had the lines. This goes back to Vanilla Ice days. I had the lines in my hair. Okay. I had a ponytail. Earrings on both sides. So I was the shop mechanic, heavy equipment technician. And then when he brought me over to Human Resources, I asked Dan Greenfield, and I said, do I need to take out my earrings or cut off my ponytail? And he said, well, I don't care about the earrings. However, the ponytail should go. He goes, you don't have to. But so I cut off the ponytail. I ended up taking the earrings out anyway. I'm wearing one now, but that's beside the point. But anyway, so I cleaned up my act, so to speak, and then the rest is history. But I continued my education and finished my bachelor's degree. Started some masterwork program. I was considering law school, but I was like, you know what? I like what I'm doing. I really like what I'm doing, and I'm moving through the ranks, and I could see myself as an HR director at some point. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to focus on human resources, and that's where I'm heading. Yeah.
So and now we have close to 1,000 employees.
Yes, 1,011 to be exact.
Oh, so now we are okay.
Yeah,
so
we're over
1,000. How does your department serve those 1,011 employees?
So after the hiring, we go through the onboarding process, right? Mm-hmm. So there's orientation videos, there's getting you signed up for your benefits, getting you signed up for your Florida retirement system, or referring you to Foster & Foster, which is our police and fire pension administrator. So we get them in touch with them so they can get enrolled with that. So that's our main involvement when they first get in. Obviously, I have an EEO coordinator in my office, so if an employee has a complaint about something, they can go see Jennifer Bethelmy in our Human Resources Department. She's our Equal Employment Opportunity Coordinator, so if somebody's got an issue, they can go talk to her. We have a grievance process through all the collective bargaining agreements. We have a grievance process for non-union employees as well to use, but if you have a complaint about harassment or discrimination, things like that, we have an EEO coordinator, so we support them in that regard. Mm-hmm. If an employee is injured at work, our workers' comp coordinator is in the risk management department. Mm-hmm. We have a claims manager who watches your claim, who makes sure you get your doctor's appointment, get the treatment you need. Our goal is to get you back to work as quickly as possible. Fix you perfectly, not just as hey, put a Band-Aid on it, send him out like a football game or on the
Right.
sideline, right?
Yeah.
Guys come out, got a bone sticking out of his arm, they tape him up and send him back in the game. It's like, get back in there, kid. We don't do that here. But those are just some of the ways that we support our employees throughout the course of their employment.
Okay. So I'm assuming you know pretty much all of our departments through the city, from police, fire, parks and rec, utilities, all that. If we had an employee Olympics, which department would win the employee Olympics?
Firefighters. So years ago.
Come on.
Yeah, and here's why. So years ago, we started doing an intramural competitions among the departments, and the firefighters won every time. Utilities usually came in second.
I would think parks and rec.
You would think, right? You would think. That is not the case. Like I said, sometimes you're not an athlete, you're an athletic supporter. Our police officers are athletes. Our firefighters are athletes. A former HR director was an athlete.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or the current HR director was formerly an athlete, is what I should say. Okay. So it kind of changes us, right? Some of us get in those sedentary positions, and it's like we work out a little bit. Just
we're sitting behind a keyboard all day.
Right?
Like,
yeah. And then Monday morning quarterback is like, I would have done that. Why didn't that guy take it to the outside? Like somehow I'm a professional analyst for a sports team. But so that would be interesting. I would love to see that come back, right? That got some engagement. We did dodgeball. Ooh. One of them was dodgeball, and I thought, as a risk manager, I'm like, oh, this cannot be a good idea. Yeah, this could not be. Hey, luckily nobody got hurt. But the firefighters took that trophy at the dodgeball tournament.
I would love to go up against them, then.
Right?
I would love to compete.
Well, listen, we'll have a basketball team, and we got a handful of ringers in our non-bargaining management side. We'd put you, unfortunately, even though you're probably guard forward, you'd be the center for sure.
I've had to do that before. Trust me. I'll do whatever I got to do.
I'm going to be the water boy.
Okay.
So when you come onto the bench, I'm going to make sure you get a nice cold glass of water. And then Mr. Coach Klein, Mr. Coach Klein,
you're going to be the Bobby Boucher.
I'm going to be the Bobby Boucher, but a better Bobby Boucher.
So I can imagine you have sat in a ton of different interviews, one from both sides of the field. What is one interview that you're never going to forget as an HR director?
That's a solid question. I've had a lot, like you said, a lot of interviews over the years, and some of the things people will say at these interviews, it's mind-boggling. Like they would confess some stuff we're not even talking about, and I'm like, why would you tell me that? Like, I don't
during a job interview?
Yeah, I'm like, why would you tell me that? He's like, next.
I'll say one thing I wish that they taught. Well, I don't know, maybe they do now, but when I was in high school or college, I have never gone through a mock interview.
Yeah.
Like I was just like thrown to, I don't want to say thrown to the wolves, but the first job I ever had, I was a camp counselor for County Evolution for the summer when I was coming back from college. And that was the first time I ever done an interview, and I've never done a mock interview at all. So I can only imagine what some of the interviews have to be like for you guys.
So what's happening with the I don't know, Gen Z maybe, is, back in the day when we were interviewing, and I won't put you in my age bracket, but when I was interviewing for jobs, it was like, what can I bring to the company? Right. Here's what I can bring for you. Here's what I will do for you. Here's how hard I'm going to work for you. Here's what I think we can accomplish if you hire me. I will do these things for you. Mm-hmm. And now you flip the script. They're literally sitting on the other side of the table, like, what can this company do for me? What can you offer me for me to bring my talents to South Beach? There's a LeBron James reference to you, right? So there's a shift in the attitude of employers, and they're not afraid to leave. Like, they will work 6 months and just disappear. Like, it's really amazing. Yeah. But I think that's going to turn, right? The AI is coming. AI is coming.
Yeah, it's here.
And I think it's going to replace a lot of positions potentially.
Yeah,
right?
And entry level too. I'm thinking, going back to the sports world, what's his name? Nico, whatever. I can't think of his last name. He was the quarterback for Tennessee.
He's now at UCLA.
And he's at UCLA, where I don't think they've won a game.
Flailing, yes.
Yeah, and I saw a photo of their last home game before the games, right before kickoff, the stadium was half empty. Mm-hmm. So I think of that as, okay, someone who you got to
be the savior, right? We're going to bring him to UCLA. He's going to be our savior. Here's what and I'm sure they were recruiting him hard.
And he fumbled the bag.
Here's the money. Here's everything, right? Yeah. And that's the other concern I'm going to have about NIL is, back in the day, these college kids were hungry to get to the league.
Oh, yeah.
Period. The goal was to get to the league. Now they're rolling in with six figures.
Yeah.
Even the lower level NIL rolling in at six figures. I'm concerned there's going to be some fat and happy. Not everybody has the LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. I want to be the best of all time. I'm going to work hard no matter what my dough is. No matter what I'm making, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about, I won't mention any names, but UCF got a quarterback out of Arkansas, and he fumbled the bag too, and we paid him a lot of money. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I thought you were supposed to be good. And he's sitting on the sidelines, blinged out, and he's not playing.
Yeah.
He's still making his money. It's like, so I'm concerned it's going to cause some complacency within these guys. Because they're set. Like, most of them, I think, are thinking, I didn't think I'd make this kind of money in my lifetime, much less for a season.
And some of them haven't even played a snap or a second in basketball or whatever the sports.
Yeah.
And they're making this money. And like you mentioned, I mean, I can't believe that you guys, there's interviews where people are saying now, what can you give me so I can bring my skills or my services to whatever the company is.
Yeah.
Like that, but you see it in society now. So the more I think about it, it's like, okay, well, I could see that maybe.
That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, I hope that. But like you said, with AI coming, I know a lot of entry jobs could be on the line. But
look at McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There used to be a front line of people taking your order. Now there's kiosks.
Yeah, right.
Kiosks at Taco Bell and all these fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's just the kitchen staff in the back. So you go there, you place your own order.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they call your name, hey, number 6, and you go pick up your bag and you go.
Yeah. It's true. What is one myth about HR that you would want to bust?
So I'll tell you this, and let me ask you. So if somebody told you, if your employer works you 8 hours a day, they owe you 2 15-minute breaks and at least a 30-minute lunch, what would you say to that?
Sounds standard.
It's standard, but is it under the law? Does your employer have to give you breaks throughout the course of the day?
Yeah. For under 18, right? You do.
So no. Well, so there's a whole under 16 child labor laws, right? So those are different. You can't work them in industrial shops or super hot kitchens.
The city,
but city of Daytona Beach, right? So I've heard throughout the course of my career, if you work 4 hours, they owe you a 15-minute breaks. If you do 8 hours, they owe you at least a half-hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks. None of that's true. The only thing the Fair Labor Standards Act says about your hours of work is if you are relieved of duty for more than 20 minutes, the employer does not have to pay you for that. But if you are relieved of duty for less than 20 minutes, your employer has to pay you for that. So if you're at an employer that gives you 15-minute breaks and pays you while you're on those breaks, that's because they're relieving you of duty for that time, but they have to compensate you. Mm-hmm. So some employers would be like, your break time's 21 minutes, and they dock you for that time.
Yeah.
Or, most lunch periods are 30 minutes.
Ours is 2 hours here, right?
Well, it depends who you are. I take 4, but that's beside the point. Yeah, so if you're taking, more than a half-hour lunch period, then it does not have to be compensated, unless, of course, you're performing work while you're at the lunch. But that's a myth that I've been hearing my entire career, is that somehow your employer owes you a break or owes you a lunch period.
Interesting. So you mentioned before that we have some job opportunities. I know that we posted on our social media, newsletters, LinkedIn, all that. What are some of the current job openings or opportunities that people can apply for right now?
So we're always recruiting for some utility worker positions. It's our utility service worker. It is a tough gig. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Job. It's not glorious at all. You could be out in the middle of the night fixing a water main break in a hole waist deep in water, where the backhoe has kind of dug it all out. We put our barriers on there. We have the safety officer sometimes also gets called out in the middle of the night to make sure the jobs are being performed safely, because sometimes it's late at night, you just want to get the job done, so you cut some corners on safety. So often our safety coordinator goes out there as well. But we're always looking for utility service workers. And like I said, the minimum now as we speak here today will be $17 an hour. We also pay an incentive. So if you get the water distribution certification, we'll pay you $100 a month extra for that.
Okay.
That $100 a month rolls into your hourly rate.
Okay.
As the on-call utility service worker, we pay you $150 a week to be on call. If you do get called, the minimum you're going to make is a 3-hour overtime. So you can make a decent living, even though we say it's 17 an hour, and some people are out there going, well, that's not a lot of money.
It can rack up in different ways.
Between the overtime, between the on-call pay, between the incentive pay for having your distribution certification, you can make a decent living. I would argue that you could probably make $50K to start, and I'm talking. You just walked in the door.
Yeah.
And the other thing about being at this organization, before we get onto that, so service workers I'm always recruiting for, maintenance workers. Right now I believe I'm looking for a buyer, and that might have just came off the board.
Okay.
Always recruiting police officers.
Right,
so
yeah,
if you're out there and
public
you're
safety.
considering getting in law enforcement, we will pay you to go to the academy. And I don't mean $9 or $14. We pay you as a regular full-time police officer minus 8% because you're
I
not
think it's like $25
LEO.
or something.
It's
right?
like it's
over-
52,000,
yeah.
whatever that
It's
hourly
over,
rate
it's over
is.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
over
we'll literally pay you while you're at the academy.
Yeah.
We pay for the academy. We will provide you your uniforms while you're at the academy. So we're doing our best to try to
Right.
recruit those positions. Firefighters about to come out again. So if you're looking to go to fire school, get to those fire academies, get your certification, and get your application in the city of Daytona Beach. We're going to have 6 vacancies coming up. So that's going to be a good opportunity for some people. And then, depending on who's retiring and just new positions, like we just approved 12 new positions in the budget. So 2 irrigation techs are going to be hitting the board soon. So if you're out there working for an irrigation company, the minimum we're going to pay here is $17 an hour. With that, you get in the Florida retirement system.
Yeah.
So you will have a pension benefit. So 22-year-olds out there, right? 18-year-olds. You just got out of high school. You're looking for some direction. You could apply to be an irrigation technician, not glamorous, right? You're fixing sprinkler systems in the middle of our medians, at our parks. That's why they're so beautiful. We got irrigation system. Takes a lot of manpower to keep those irrigation systems going, but that's just your opportunity. I know of a irrigation tech that started here several years ago, and now he is a supervisor within the Public Works Department, has been promoted multiple times. So if you're talented, you have the attitude, you have the aptitude, you can move up in this organization. You just got to work hard, be the standout employee. Management will recognize that and figure out how do we get this person where they need to be.
And you said you said a very key acronym, FRS, because that is what really attracted me to not just work for the city, but I first got into FRS. I was a teaching aide or teacher aide at Spruce Creek High School, making very little money.
Yes.
But I was able to get into the FRS system,
Right.
and I know, and I was, I think, 24 when I did that, or 23, something like that. But I know, okay, if I'm in the FRS system now, that money is going to rack up,
Yes.
and pretty much snowball down the line.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking right now. Obviously, right now I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, but I knew, or I know when it comes to time for me to retire, being in that FRS system it's a huge benefit for anyone. I mean,
that's one of the, I won't say the best benefit, because our health insurance is second to none.
Too, you're right.
So that's the beauty of it. Even someone's like, well, I'm making $19 an hour as an irrigation tech for a local company.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so even if you come here for $2 an hour, your health insurance is going to make that up. Your Florida retirement system in 30 years and an 8-year drop. So you do a 38-year career at the city of Daytona Beach in the Florida retirement system. You start when you're 20. What are you, 58 years old? 58 years old. Retire. Normal retirement. The drop account is probably going to have about $150,000 in it, maybe $200,000, depending on what your average final compensation is. Or you'd be in the 401A side. So FRS has 2 sides. It has the defined contribution side, where it's your money. You invest it in wherever you feel comfortable investing it in.
That's
The other side's a
plan.
pension
Right,
benefit, which is defined benefit. So when you leave, it's based on your average final compensation and years of service, and you will get that pension for life, including a spouse. So if you have a surviving spouse, you can elect that benefit for FRS. You can do it just for yourself, or you can have it where it has a survivor benefit. So if you're married, your spouse might be younger than you or older, it doesn't matter. As long as they're a surviving spouse, they will continue to get the benefit until they pass. It's a lifetime guaranteed benefit, like Social Security. And by the way, this is not in lieu of Social Security. This is in addition to.
Right.
So if you were the fortunate one that starts your career here on your 20th birthday, and you retire at your 58th birthday, you're not even eligible for Social Security yet. But you will collect your Florida Retirement System pension, then you will collect your Social Security on top of it.
Yeah, and it's and you mentioned too the healthcare, because so my wife, she's pregnant, and we just met with Florida healthcare plans 3-4 weeks ago to go over the financial side of the whole pregnancy up to delivery and all that. Before we even did that, like when we first found out we were pregnant, and she's like 13 weeks right now, I was like, oh my gosh, man! Like I've been seeing all these videos on about how expensive it is to have a child, and you know the how much it costs for prenatal care and delivery and the hospital, and I'm freaking out. And then when we sat down with Florida healthcare plans, I was like, holy crap, dude, our benefits are like our healthcare is that good here. Like
it is good.
Like it was. I was shocked at they pretty much now that was the plan that we have with them, or the financial plan is pretty much if everything goes to plan.
Certainly,
we don't have
there's
certain complications or not, which I'm
God willing,
crossed.
baby, God willing.
But I could not believe how good our healthcare. I mean, I was almost in tears, like how happy I was.
I don't think employees understand how much this city spends on their benefits. So, for example, an employee that starts at the $17 an hour now, it was $15, so $31,500. The cost of that employee is about $65,000.
Okay.
So the employee's making the $31,500. And that's not overtime. I'm not even including that in the cost. That's just their regular base rate of pay.
Okay.
The health insurance for a family is like $1,700. The employee pays about $400 of that, maybe $450 over the course, because it's a weekly deduction out of their check. But the city's putting in about $1,800 for that health insurance premium. The city's putting in 14% of your wages into the Florida retirement system. The employee puts in 3%. So between our 14% into the Social Security, our $1,500 that we're paying for that health insurance, your paid time off, we give 16 hours a month off. So it's 192 hours a year for your first 7 years, and then it goes to like 200 and something, and then it goes to like mid 200 and something. So when I think I accrue 18 hours a month. I don't know what that math is times 12.
Yeah, and
we give a lot of time off.
I'm 16, but also we get all the holidays.
Oh yeah.
You get your EA day, your birthday. The city.
So there's 11 holidays.
It's like,
yes.
I mean, the benefits are. It's really hard to leave.
So that's what we always say in the government sector is like you might be able to make a little more per hour in the private sector. However, the benefits and mainly the retirement system is by far better. That's where we kind of go. And I get it. Somebody's like, well, I got to buy groceries, and I can't buy groceries with my health insurance. So. But if you're somebody that has, some medical conditions, acute or otherwise, like your out of pocket's not going to make you poor. Like you will be fine. And we even have a high deductible plan where we put in $119 into a health savings account for you, which basically over the course of that year, it's $119 a month. So over the course of the year, it's almost enough to cover the deductible, even if you had to use the plan. And if you don't use the plan, that's your money in a health savings account. So maybe you don't need it this year. Maybe you don't need it the following year. Maybe you don't even need it the following year. At some point, you blow your knee out on the softball team, and it's like, oh, got to have surgery. You've got the copay for the ER visit that night in your health savings account. You got your co-insurance payment for the surgery or whatever has to happen. Like our health insurance plans are fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what are some of the challenges that your department faces? I know there's a lot of benefits and there's a lot of great things, but there's also, there's got to be some challenges that you guys face too.
So the challenges are, and we experienced it during this collective bargaining process. So I meet with the city manager early on, like I said, March, start projecting what we're going to look at for employee raises. And this year, we projected a certain amount of employee raises. And after my April meeting with the police units, I knew, as far apart as we were, as far as what I could see other agencies doing, the sheriff's office doing a very big increase for their officers and mainly their sergeants as well, I had to go back to the city manager and go, we're not going to get a collective bargaining agreement with our public safety units if we can't give better increases than what we had projected at the time. So that's why, if you notice, regular employees, and I'm not going to say the word only, we have been given significant raises over the past many years.
And
the last 2 years,
and every year we've had one.
Yeah, the past 2 years we gave 3% in October, 2% in April, 3% in October, 2% in April, so 10% over that 18-month period. Mm-hmm. That is continuing for me and you. General employees here will get 3% in October, 2% in April, 3% next October, and 2% the following April. However, for public safety this year, like I said, after consultation with the city manager, we actually had executive sessions with the city commission, which means we can go behind closed doors to talk about collective bargaining with the legislative body, which is our city commission. Mm-hmm. And those are not public meetings. They're not recorded in any way. There's no minutes taken at those meetings. It's the only type of meeting under Florida statute that the commissioners have total confidentiality in that meeting. So we met with them on 2 occasions to talk about how are we going to resolve these contracts with our public safety units. Mm-hmm. So they all agreed to some significant changes. So our public safety units are getting 3% October, 4% April, 3% October, 4% the following April. In addition to that 14% over the 18 months technically is when you get the money, right? Gotcha. And then the 2-year mark is when the next October raise would happen. So over the next 18 months, they're getting that 14%. We made significant strides in our pension benefit for police officers. It used to have a hard dollar cap of $5,500 a month. First world problem, right? So they were going to make $66,000 in retirement. We're talking about 43 to 48-year-old people who have $66,000 for life. But it is the, I won't say weakest, it is the less amount of surrounding jurisdictions. So what we did in this year's negotiations, we agreed to make the pension benefit a 75% cap. So what that means is if they work 25 years, it's a 3% multiplier. So for every year of service you get, it's 3%. You work 25 years, that's 75%. You get 75% of whatever your average final compensation is, which is your high 3 years. Okay. That is going to be your benefit for life. So we're
every
doing
year you're getting that.
Every year for life, you're going to get that with 2% COLAs starting at the 6th year. And we just implemented an 8-year drop. So follow me on this. Yeah. So a lot of the officers that were capped at $66,000, again, a very great pension benefit, they're going to get a recalculation. And their pension benefit can go from $66,000, some are going to go to $80,000, some are going to see a 6-figure pension, and then you go 8-year drop. So let's just say my pension benefit now goes from $66,000 to $80,000. Now I have an 8-year drop. All drop is a deferred retirement option program. So I basically retire, but I keep working. So for that 8 years that I work and drop, my pension benefit's going into an account that earns interest. So $80,000 a year times 8 years, don't make me do math. That's a lot of money. Yeah. It's a lot of money. And it's going to earn up to 6.5% interest.
It was 5 years before, right?
It was 5-year drop before. Now it
now
just
you can
moved
add
to
on
8.
3 more years.
3 more years. So your drop account's going to be big. So we're talking about people between the ages of 45 and 53 going out with $80,000 to $100,000 pensions with a large sum of money in a drop account. So public safety, if there's a time, and I get it, it's a tough job.
Yeah. It's not always
There's
it's not a fan
anti-police
favorite.
out there. There's all kind of things out there that are hindering our ability to get good people to take those type jobs. But listen, law enforcement is not the only thing. We're trying to find. It's a hard time to get teachers. We want the best and brightest to be teachers, but we don't pay a whole lot. We don't have teachers here. Well, that's the school board. But that's hard to recruit. If I'm top of my class, why would I want to go be an educator and make $47,000?
Right.
I don't want to do that. But if I have aspirations, or it's a calling for some, right? It is a true calling. That's what they want to do.
Yeah. Well, I had one teacher, and she was pretty vocal about it on social media, that she had to get into admin because she physically could not make ends meet, even though she loved teaching more than being into admin. But she had to get into administration because that's the only way she was going to be able to do it. And it's a tough reality.
And they have ways to make some extra money, right? They could do the summer school. They can do the after program. Like there's ways, and that job has its own perks too, right? With the summer breaks and the winter breaks and the spring breaks. But there's teacher work days within there, and they do a lot of time. This is not to minimize the importance and the hard work that teachers do, because I know they have to do after hours programming, after hours grading of papers, after hours of making their curriculum. Like there's a lot of things. Oh my goodness, can you imagine in today's age? Because everybody's child's a saint.
They've never done wrong.
How is my child getting a C?
I used to coach basketball. Trust me. I hear you.
Oops, sorry.
So I definitely get it. So what are, looking down the line, what are some of the goals for the HR department within the next 5 to 10 years, you would say?
Well, I think, to try to become more automated in a lot of our stuff, and that, until, I don't know, 2017, like we still had paper applications.
Yeah.
Like now we have an online system. It is horrible, and if you're out there experiencing trouble,
I had to go through it 4 years ago.
I do apologize,
but it's worth it. It's worth it.
It is. Yeah. It is. We're in the process of looking at another company now. The system we're using right now has a lot of glitches, but I want to go automated on a lot of things. Like we still chase a lot of paper in government, right? And I know we heard that at the Doge level, at the federal level, where retirement plans, there's still somebody in a back room wearing a green visor calculating your pension benefit by hand, right? So we have a lot of antiquated systems, so I'd love to see most of that get automated. Maybe there's an app, for your work schedules.
Have you guys seen any AI at all being able to
It's
be
just
integrated?
coming, right? In fact, the city's working on an AI policy. In fact, I think it just hit emails the other day. So on what our proper uses of how we should use AI, because there's some dangers in that too, right? And we're so big on cybersecurity because we have to be. If somebody's out there using an AI tool and uses it incorrectly, they're going to let something into our system. So we're trying to put that policy out there to try to safeguard our cybersecurity. Hassam Razika, our Chief Information Officer, is amazing when it comes to cybersecurity. He is a genius. And he is keeping this organization as safe as can be.
Yeah, his job will be hard to sleep at.
And by the way, like we do simulated phishing attacks. Phishing meaning you get these hostile emails in real life, right? So they create these things through our system and send them out to employees randomly to see if they will click on them. And if they did, it's like, why did you click on this? What's the training we need to do to train you on that? Because we're only as good as our weakest link, right? I could be the best running back on the planet, RJ Harvey, Denver Broncos, check him out. But if he doesn't have a lineman blocking for him, he's going nowhere. Or you could be the best quarterback skilled on the planet. If you're not getting blocking for you, you're not going nowhere.
What's that saying Nick Saban used to say? You don't run a play until you get it right. You run a play until you can't get it wrong.
Right.
So
that's the difference between pros, right? And I see this, back in my skateboarding days, is most of us we practice a trick until we hit it. The pros practice the trick until they can't miss it. So there's a difference, right? Us homers are out there, bing bong, and he's like, hey, I hit it, I'm out, I'm done. Boom, shower time. That's when that person gets to work now and goes, okay, how did I do that? And they do it a million more times to determine I can't miss it.
The phishing and cybersecurity. Like you gotta constantly,
keep practicing.
Sending out those
Yeah.
emails. They're changing them up. They're they're adapting to whatever the times. It's not the same type of emails that we're getting now than what we did. Even when I started here 4 years ago, they've changed all that up too.
Yeah. So that's just our challenges coming up, right? Automation, making sure our cybersecurity is on point, making sure we're using IA to the best of its ability without compromising our systems, keeping a workforce that's happy, engaged, content. Those are all challenges within the HR, right? Because if we have employees that are not engaged, not happy in their workplaces, they're just not going to perform for you. So that's some of our challenges to make sure we keep that going.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd want to add to the podcast?
No, other than go Knights, charge on.
All right, yeah. What time's kickoff on Saturday?
7:30.
At the Bounce House.
At the Bounce House, baby.
Right.
I'll be there bouncing. Oh, I'll be there bouncing.
All right, very good. All right, well, thanks for joining the show.
I appreciate you, Justin.
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you. Well, that's all we have today. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure, again, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the city's website at DaytonaBeach.gov/DB Unscripted. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media as well. We put everything out there, including our job opportunities. So if you're looking for a new job, we constantly put it out there, especially on our LinkedIn. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, LinkedIn, Nextdoor, Neighbors, so you can stay up to date with all of our upcoming job openings as well. So, but other than that, that's all we have today, folks. So we'll see you for the next episode. Thanks.